All right, well, good afternoon, everybody. Just want to give you a quick update. Really appreciate Director Stallings from Georgia Emergency Management Agency for being with us, and our Insurance Commissioner, General John King's here with us with some of our legislative partners and obviously our First Lady. As you know, the storm has been upgraded to a hurricane. Per our news yesterday afternoon, Director Stallings has opened the State Operations Center. So we have our whole team on active duty, if you will, at the Operations Center now. So a lot of coordination going on. We're talking to a lot of our friends in the southern part of the state, obviously watching the path of the storm and continuing to communicate with them. We'll certainly know more as the storm develops over the next 12 to 24 hours. I talked to the FEMA administrator just a little while ago. She was checking in just to make sure we were good and see if we needed anything, so we certainly appreciate that. We're having constant contact with their team as well. So we feel really good about where we are, but Georgians should know that we're going to be proactive and make sure that we're planning ahead, and we also want them just to be storm ready. And we'll be sharing a lot of information over the next hours and days to make sure that that's the case. And with that, I'll open it up to the whole team up here if you have any specific questions.
Any plans to deploy to any parts of Georgia right now?
Say that one more time.
Any plans to deploy any units to any parts of Georgia, like Macon or South Georgia, anything like that?
Well, I'll let Director Stallings speak to exactly what moving parts we have right now. I know I didn't mention this, but we're also in contact with, obviously, with the National Guard and General Cardin and his team. They are on point and ready. I just think we're a little early for that right now, but I'll let Chris address that specifically.
We do have some pre-positioned assets around the state, basic essentials, so we keep those on ready at all times. For this particular event, because it's so widespread, it's going to cover most of South Georgia there. We do have stuff in the Macon area ready to deploy.
Are you considering using your executive powers maybe as a state of emergency, specifically Somerville? This is an area that has really been hit hard already here locally. We get as much rain as forecasted.
Well, Georgians should know that I'll use every power I got to prepare for the storm and to be ready when it hits and to respond afterwards. And so those are discussions that we are having right now. I think at the moment that's a little premature, but we'll be making that call certainly in the hours or ahead or perhaps tomorrow, depending on what we're seeing and what counties may be affected. We're still trying to make sure we know, what part of the state, what specific counties would be affected.
Question with Director Stallings. Director, what's the time frame on possibly people coming up from Florida, turning around 16, those type things? And can you come up to the podium too, for all our mics?
So the timeline is all dependent upon the storm, obviously. Right before the governor's first press conference today, Tampa has issued a mandatory evacuation. So some of their folks will start traveling north. They're always going to be ahead of the curve for us, so we prep for that. Our hotels, our shelter locations, they're ready. We've already had our conversations with FEMA partners as well to ensure we have enough space for them, and as well as our own whenever we need to start that sheltering process. And it all depends on the speed of the storm. It's going to dictate our exact movement.
What's that time frame right now?
Right now it looks like if it continues with the current models, it'll be probably late Wednesday night, Thursday morning, whenever it reaches Georgia.
I think one of the good things about the State Operations Center being opened up is Director Stallings is communicating with all state and federal resources. So from a traffic perspective on potential evacuees from Florida, he's got somebody in the SOC from State Patrol and other law enforcement agencies, which allows us to be able to respond to these things very quickly. I think one of the concerns that I have just watching the storm and getting the briefs that I have is this storm, there's some models that show it may sit for a while, which could create an incredible rain event, so we're certainly watching that. But those are the kind of things that we just, they're models, so we won't know until things develop a little further, but we're watching it as you are by the minute. All right, thank you all.
Thank you, Governor.
You know what? Let me let General King, I forgot about that. Let me let him give you an update on the things that we're working on together from insurance, being prepared, and also potential fraud and abuse situations.
Thank you, Governor. Hi, I'm John King, your Georgia Insurance Commissioner. Right now we're working very hard with insurance agents and insurance companies covering the southern part of the state to make sure that they're ready. Also communicating with the members of the public to start preparing, documenting the belongings, documents that cannot be easily replaced, safeguarding those, and have a plan and discussing that plan with their family members. We're working very closely with GEMA and also tracking the storm and talking to our partners in Florida, because obviously this is not new to Georgia. And so we're preparing. That is our before the storm strategy, and then post-storm strategy. As the storm comes through, then our employees will go into the area to assist companies and assist consumers in filing their insurance claims if they have any, and obviously also bring in our law enforcement officers to go and prevent a lot of the fraud that's associated with damage of a storm.
Governor, do you expect to do a state of emergency, a partial state of emergency? Do you expect that? I know you're saying it's early, but what's your expectation?
Well, I wouldn't want to speculate too much on those kind of things. Again, we'll just use every power we have available, not only to prepare for the storm, but also be ready to react to it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
I'll see you.